Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So here today on Copper, this is a horse that's on the Trotty side, and he can foxtrot now, and he can do a saddle gait. So what I'm going to do is, it's always harder in the arena with the Trotty ones. We're just doing lateral flexion. He's a little confused. So you have to help him more versus if you're out on the road or on hard surface like a hard trail or something. Then the Trotty ones can gait just fine. But in the arena, because the footing is deep, it makes them lift their legs higher, and it will make them separate their legs more, which then makes them go more towards a trot. Okay. Now the way he's built, he has a little bit of a lower headset. That makes it a little bit harder when the horse is trotty and you're trying to get like a saddle gait, which is a lateral gait. Your foxtrot is a diagonal gait, so that's more similar or closer to the trot. And so with him, I'm going to have to pick his head up, and the faster I go, the more I'm going to have to pick it up if he's getting a little bit towards the trotty side, or if he's not smooth enough. So when I start them, you see all my arena videos, so you can always skip ahead if you want. But I always do circle work, and I'm doing serpentines and getting them to bend. So then as I go faster, if I need to separate their legs more, I can do that doing a lateral movement, like a leg yield or a shoulder in. But also, if he's getting too trotty, those things can also help me if done the right way. So he usually, if I do it more to the left, like I bend him to the left or tap him with my left leg, that makes him go more lateral towards saddle gait. So each horse is different, but if your horse is trotty, usually either the right or the left side, if you bend him that way or hit him with that one leg, you many times can get them into their saddle gait. But you have to sit back, get your weight back, and you're trying to get the horse's weight. When you're trying to get them out of the trot, you're trying to get them a little bit tenser in their neck and back, and that's the problem with many of these horses. So we're going to flat walk, so it's just a fast walk. With many of these horses, we want them all framed up because we're coming from hunter jumper, we're coming from dressage, or we're coming from reining. And the hard part is to know that if we frame them up too much and get their heads too low when they're on the trotty side, you'll just make them trot more. So with him, I really don't want his head lower than this unless he's holding his gait. If he's holding his gait, then it's perfectly fine. I don't care where his head really is, as long as it's good for his body. But when they need help, especially if they're trotty ones, it goes against everything we want to do in the end. We have to invert them, tense their neck and back up, and then over time condition them so then they can do it in a more neutral frame. But many of them, you can't bring their head all the way down to where it was when we were kind of walking in the beginning. So all I'm doing with him is, he does better on the trail. He has a nice walk. But in here, I'm trying to get him to lengthen his stride a little bit because it's shorter. And I like to do that by just alternating my legs, one and then the other. And then if he's going towards that foxtrot, I just give a little squeeze and release on the rein to get him to come back to the walk. So the walk is your foundation. It's your first gait. Okay, and I'm talking about the flat walk, not a trail walk. A trail walk is when you just go slow like this. Something you do with like a quarter horse. But each horse's speed is different, so it's got to be your horse's slowest walk is their trail walk. And then your next walk should be your flat walk, and that's a forward walk. How do you know you're doing it? The horse's head goes up and down. Usually you move back and forth in the saddle, but with the really smooth ones, you might not move much at all. But their head should kind of go up and down, and it should feel like you're going somewhere, kind of like when you were walking to catch the bus or a cab or something. You kind of speed up, but you're not running. You're still doing a walk. So that's what I'm trying to do, is all this work at his flat walk and make him walk out a little bit. But because he's trotty and they didn't know he was gaited, they rode him at the trot, so he'll tend to go towards that. So for now, whoever takes him just has to ride him with some contact, keep conditioning him in his gaits, and in time this horse has enough talent that he probably won't need much contact to keep him in his gaits. He's just got to know what he's supposed to do. He tries hard, but if he doesn't have anybody telling him what to do, then of course he could go back to the trot, because that was easiest for him, and that's what he was doing before, because the people let him. So when you get these horses and they're on the trotty side, again, when you bought them, they're probably gaiting very well, because the people who rode them know what they're doing. It might look like they're doing nothing, but they're doing a fair amount. You just don't see it. They're using their seat, they're using their legs, they're using their fingers, and you're just not seeing them do much, and they're used to riding gaited horses, so they have feel and timing and know how fast to push the horse. You get the horse, you don't know how fast to push it, what speed to go, how much contact to put on its mouth, how much leg to put on it, so you do all the wrong things because you do what you did with your regular trotting horses, and then the horse isn't gaiting well for you, okay? And that's why many of the trotty ones will gait well on the trail and not in the arena, because the trail helps them, but in the arena you have to help them, and again we usually start framing them up more. So my hands are very light, and I'm not doing much at all except half halting. So she got me a stick because he's being slow in here, and I want to reinforce my leg because I don't want to keep pushing at him with my legs and having him try to ignore me, because they get bored in the arena. So I want to pick up a stick, but I like the dressage whip so I can tap him behind my leg. Okay. So now we're just walking out at his walk. So one of the things you want to do is warm your horse up very well. Okay. It helps with their next gait. And many people don't round pen or anything else, so they are not warmed up. You might think they're warmed up because they've been walking around the pasture. They might be walking around a little bit, but not that much. So it's always good to round pen them, especially if they're pacey. Round pen them, work them over some poles before you get on, and get them nice and warmed up, and everything will be much easier. So this is a nice walk, and again, could I let go of him more? Sure I can, okay? But again, I'm training him and trying to show him what to do. So I have a contact, but it's a light contact, and that just means my fingers are around the reins, but I'm not really squeezing on the reins unless he's doing the wrong thing, okay? So he's doing good. Again, our footing is bad. It never gets dragged in here. So you have to half halt to tell the horse, no, stay this speed. Otherwise, they don't know. If you put leg on them, they'll just go faster and faster and faster if they don't know their job, if nobody's really taught them. And many of these horses are not trained well, so they don't know their job, just FYI. Okay. So now we're going to do our backup. Backup helps with engagement, and he's quite good with his backup. Lady who had him put lots of arena work on him, which was good. They just didn't gait him. So he knows the arena work pretty well. It's just riding them correctly so they stay in the gait that you want. And so, again, when you get these horses, if you don't know how to ride a gaited horse, even if it gaits well, in that video you might not be able to gait it well at all, and you might think they did something weird to it to make it to gait. And they might have. It might have had heavy shoes or long feet. But it also might be that they knew how to ride gaited horses and you don't. You haven't taken any lessons. Nobody's here to help you. And so you just don't know, and you're unsure, and you release at the wrong time, and you put pressure on at the wrong time. So the horse is learning the wrong thing. So see, he got his head way down, and all I'm doing is just picking it up a little bit. So we're going to do a little shoulder in. That just means bend them to the inside some and bring their shoulders kind of off the track. I have videos on this, so we won't explain a lot of that in this video. And again, see, some of the times you'll see me bounce in the saddle. It's a soft bounce. It's just he doesn't know how to lengthen his stride at the walk. So you just work on that. You just do lots of walking so they learn. Otherwise, again, they just offer you the next speed that they have. And it might be a foxtrot, or it might be, another gait they have, or it might be the pace or the trot, because they're like, this is all I can do, but I'll go faster for you. So it's up to you to help them, because again, they don't know anything's wrong with that. Okay, so let's do another backup. And again, if you don't want to see the arena work or what I'm doing, just forward ahead, and I'll be doing the gaiting after I finish doing this flat walking. So we're going to stop. We're going to do our turn on the forehand. Remember, that movement is very important to learn if you're a trail rider. And I have that in other videos too. So now we're just going to make some circles this way, do some leg yielding, and do some shoulder in. And again, you can forward ahead if you don't want to see it. And all I'm doing is I like to squeeze with one leg and then the other to try to lengthen their flat walk. We're just trying to keep his attention, not let him look out of the arena. All the girls are over there, so yes, all the guys look at them, right? And then that's a new horse, so you're just picking up contact. Tell them, no, don't pay attention to them. We got stuff to do, okay? The horse should be paying attention to you the entire time you're on it. A lot of people, trail riders, will ride with looser reins, and you let your horses look all over and then wonder why they're spooking and not paying attention to you. Or the horses are starting to act up. They got to know who's in control, and it's either you or them, and it should be you. You're the driver. So you're trying to keep some contact, and it's much easier when the reins are a little shorter to have that contact if you need it in case they didn't take off or do something bad. Because if your reins are real long, unless you're a very good rider, it takes seconds, 2 minutes to get your reins organized and get control of your horse. So the worse rider you are, the more you should keep those reins short enough that you can do what you need to do if there's an emergency or you have a problem, but keep pushing your arms forward when the horse is being good, so that way you're not pulling on their mouth the whole time. So if you watch my videos, you will see me do that. If you pay attention, you'll see me push my arms forward, but I don't open my fingers and throw the reins away, which a lot of people do. I'm just pushing my arms, and then I have my fingers wrapped around the reins, so if the horse trips or something, I still have my reins and I can help them, okay? So again, the main point with the whole trotty horse is if they need some tension to do those lateral gaits, and to get that tension, you're bringing their head and neck up, and then once you can get those gaits consistently, then you try to see over time if they can do it in a more neutral frame, which is better for them in the long run. But again, some cannot. They're just so trotty, and if you don't ride them with their head up, they're not going to gait, or they're just going to do a foxtrot, and you might be fine with that, okay? But trotty horses, they're good horses. You might be like, why would they breed them trotty? Well, they're more sure-footed usually. They canter easier, but to get the gait, it can be a little bit harder. And so there's benefits and downsides of both being pacey and trotty, and there's even downsides of horses that just gait, because some horses that just gait, it's hard for the vets to see if they're lame because you can't get them to trot, and sometimes they can trip over poles because they keep their feet a little lower, or they're tripping on the trail because they keep their feet a little lower. And sometimes it's harder to get them to canter, okay? So they bring pace for a reason, they breed trotty for a reason, and they breed the ones that just gait. And if you're lucky, I still think the ones that just gait, if you're a newbie, are the ones that are the best. But then again, you might not canter. So you have to think of all those things. And, ask the seller or watch the horse loose and you'll be able to see. So we're going to back up. So when you ride on the trail or the arena, if your horse doesn't have a great backup, like this is pretty good. He's a little crooked, but otherwise it's pretty good. Then you should try backing up at least twice a ride. I would recommend 6 times a ride. Just pick spots, not when your friends are leaving, just when you're standing there with them. And 6 times, back them up 5 to 10 steps, and your horse's backup will get much better if you start making yourself do it all the time. Backup makes a better hoe, and you sometimes have to back up on a trail because you're stuck, and it's very important you learn how to steer backwards and be able to control your horse's body as you stop and back up. So So if his butt goes to the right, I push with my right leg, like his butt's going to the right now, so a little right rein and right leg. If it goes left, left rein and left leg. And now we're going to do another turn on the forehand. But you have to figure out how much leg and hand you have to use. Okay, So now we're going to go to the foxtrot. So I would like his head about here. So if it goes down, you're going to see me kind of keep picking it up. The bit I have in his mouth is a wonder bit. It just helps to kind of elevate them up a little bit more if I have a horse that's trotty. You can use any bit, but if you use ones that, like the Myler bits or Brenda Imus bits, those bring the horse's head down. It helps you to do those things. So those are good for pacey horses. But with a trotty horse, when you use those, it might bring its head down too much. So you just got to play around and see what works for your horse and what he's happiest in. I've ridden trotty horses with those bits, and some are just fine, but you just have to know what you're doing and just not have too much pressure on the reins, or that might bring their head down too much and make them trotty. So we're doing a foxtrot. He's not very fast at this in here, so you'll see me kind of bouncing up and down. Now, everybody's different with what they enjoy riding. So again, this is sure-footed, but you do have kind of a small bounce up and down. Now, he'll change by that gait every time because of the footing. There's hardly any footing there. But when you're changing from deep footing to hard footing, they're going to keep changing what they're doing because everything affects the gaited horse. The terrain, the frame, the speed, how much engagement, so how much they're using their hindquarters, all affects their gait. Okay? So if you have a foxtrotter or you're trying a foxtrot, what you're doing is you should feel a soft bounce, but when you feel more of a jarring bounce, you're like, I don't know about that, just a little squeeze and relax on the rein and a little leg at the same time so the horse knows to keep going is what will smooth it out. When you're riding in groups, if this is the gait you have and it's quite slow, then you need to lead the ride or ask the people if they'll just flat walk while you foxtrot, okay? Otherwise, you can skip ahead and go to your saddle gait because that's going to be much faster. But if you just ride him at this and you keep pushing and keep strengthening him over time, of course his foxtrot's going to get faster because that's what happens with any kind of conditioning, human or horse. We get better at it as we get to practice it for longer periods of time. And then we get stronger and we get faster. But everybody has their top speed, the horses and the people. So again, sometimes he's quite nice. Other times he has a little harder bounce. You just sit back, elevate his head, and hold the rein just a little tighter, which is your half halt for a couple of seconds, and then he'll smooth out. Okay? So with this, we can have some relaxation in his body. We can have relaxation in his neck and back, but if we get too much of relaxation, then again, he might get bouncier. And you have to choose. That's the hard part with the gaited. You're like, well, I want to ride him in this frame. Well, you can, but it might be bouncier. So that's the hardest part for us, is this is a different discipline, which people think it isn't. It is. So we're going to ride him different, just like the hunter jumpers ride different than the dressage people. Just like the roping horses ride different than the, reiners. Just like the barrel horses ride different than pleasure horses, the Western pleasure horses with their heads way down. So it's a different discipline, and if you want to excel in the discipline, you're going to learn things, but if you want to do this naturally without doing crazy shoes or crazy feet, you have to put that horse in the right frame to help them get there, okay? So now, as I get up there, if you look at my stick and it looks weird, it's because it's broken. So I had one lady try to buy a stick just like mine, and I was riding with a broken stick. So this is a broken dressage whip. But it's still working. Okay, so there he's quite smooth. See, I'm not bouncing much. Now I have a little harder bounce, so sit back, tuck your butt underneath you, and a little half halt. Over here he gets a little distracted because that's where the girls are, so squeeze and relax on your right rein and use your opposite leg, your outside leg or your left leg to push him over. Okay. Now I like the foxtrot. It's comfortable. It's fun, but I do like the lateral gaits a little bit more. So you can have a horse that does this. You get foxtrots, and you're like, well, I don't like that. Or you have a horse, say you have a walking horse and has big, huge stride, and you're like, well, I hate the camel walk, and I don't like his flat walk so much, but his running walk's quite nice. So you just kind of shorten up his stride, hold him together more at the walk, so he can't do that camel walk, because the more loose and relaxed they are, the more they're going to camel walk. So shorten up their stride by using your half halts on your legs. And then flat walk. Instead of your flat walk, just skip ahead and go faster. And then do that for a bit. Or if you don't like that, just go straight to your saddle gait. Many walking horses can do a saddle gait. Many foxtrotters can do a saddle gait. And that's what the Rockies usually do. So you have options on your gaits, but you have to choose what do you like, what's best for your back and knees, and then work on it and make it smoother and smoother and smoother. Just because they're a foxtrotter doesn't mean you have to ride it at a foxtrot, and just because it's a walking horse doesn't mean you have to do the flat walk and the running walk. I mean, it's nice. I like it, but you don't have to. You can, especially if it's bothering your back or something, change their gait up. Okay? And then if you just start riding them at that gait and not doing the other gaits anymore, guess what? They don't try to do them anymore. So, if nothing hurts, ride them at all the gaits, because that's the best for them. But otherwise, just remember, you can change the gait that you're riding them mostly at. So see, he gets distracted over there a little bit, and I just hit him with my right rein and leg that time. And then remember. And then remember, keep gaiting till you get some good steps, and that's when you stop, okay? And don't stop by their friends, and don't stop where they keep looking. Stop them somewhere they don't like to be, so you make that spot better. Oh. Okay. So now, this is our turn on the haunches. It's helpful to do, especially if you're in a small space. We're just going to give them a minute. The camera thing's not working, so I can't let it keep running for a longer break. So we're going to go to his saddle gait. So what we're going to do is I'm going to speed up. He might trot, he might foxtrot, he might canter. And what I'm going to do is bring his head up, sit back more, kind of tuck my butt underneath me, so I'm on a little bit more of a chair seat. And then if you can see my feet, I'm going to push one foot and then the other, if you can see me wiggling around. And what I'm going to try to do is get him to follow my rhythm to do the gait. He can do this quite well on the trail. He can do it out there, but it's much harder in here because the footing is going to make him trottier, okay? And he knows how to canter, so he's going to offer that canter. And when he offers the canter, I'm going to slide the bit to make it a little bit uncomfortable for him. And then I'm going to try to push and get the gait again. If he just keeps cantering, then the other option you can do, and I might do it with him if he does, is just start cantering, canter a couple of times around, and then come back to your saddle gait, because then they'll be tired from cantering, okay? So again, I don't want to be forward, because if you're forward on the trotty horses, you're just going to trot more. So you got to sit back, tuck your butt underneath you. Here we go. I'm going to add both legs. If he doesn't go, I'm going to tap him with the stick, and then I'm going to hit him twice with my left heel. So he's cantering. So I'm going to slide the bit. That's a way to tell him I don't want to do that. Now he's half cantering, so that's a gait elope. So I don't want that. There we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere with his saddle gait. So you'll see his head's up more. You might see his tail bouncing, and you'll kind of see me wiggling in the saddle. The ones that are trotty, you'll wiggle around more, especially in the arena. He lost it, so I'm just tapping him. And if you try a horse and it keeps coming out of gait and you're riding in the arena, but you're a trail rider, don't worry about it. Go ride the trail, see what it does on trail, because many of them will stay in gait on trail. They're not used to doing it in the arena. And even though he has a lot of arena work, he's not used to doing the gait in here. So there he is. He's quite good. Now I'm going to stop. Oh, because he was doing the right thing. And that's my way of telling him that's the right answer. Okay? Good boy. On the trail, he's quite good. He gaits very nicely. You just got to sit the right way and have a little contact, and he'll do the right thing. But the nice thing about, again, the trotty one's like, you saw him, he goes in the canter very easily. So it's just backing him off of the canter, then pushing him forward. Because horses that are trotty and people haven't ridden correctly, they're used to trotting and then cantering. That's their speed. So you're trying to get them to gait faster, so you got to get them out of the canter and then build that strength up over time. Okay, so now we're going to go again. So I'm going to walk off. I'm going to sit back a little bit, and this is all giving him cues. So I'm going to sit back, raise his head up a little bit. Now I'm going to hit him with both legs. There we go. So see, that time he picked it up. He's like, oh, I think I get it now. Now he's half cantering again, so I'm picking up, sliding the bit. Now he got his head down too low, so you saw me kind of jerk it up. And now I'm pushing, I'm alternating on my stirrups. That's a lot to do. So you don't have to do all that in the beginning, but you can try. Once you're getting the rhythm, you're trying to get the horse to follow your rhythm. So he's gait loping again. So I'm going to sit back, slide the bit. There we go. Now each time I go to stop, if they're doing a good job, I try to go further. So he's doing pretty good. I'm going to get his head up, slide the bit, because he went to cantering again. Slide the bit, get his head up. He's cantering on the wrong lead too. There we go. Still going to keep going. He's cantering again. Okay, so he keeps cantering, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to canter on the correct lead, and we're going to canter for a bit. Like, you want to canter, let's get it out of the way. It does help their gait. It uses different muscles, so I'm going to use those muscles up a little bit, and then I'm going to try for the saddle gait again. No big deal. Okay? So this is why a lot of people who have trotty horses don't let their horses canter under saddle, because then the horses keep trying. So I'm still going to make them gait. It's not like I'm not going to make them gait. So if they keep trying to canter, just start cantering for a bit. Let's just keep cantering until those muscles are tired. And then we'll try the saddle gait, because those are going to be different muscles. So that might make it a little easier for you, buddy. He's like, what? I got to do both? Yeah, you got to do both. So very nice canter, right? So again, there's upsides and downsides of all things with horses, but again, this is why the gaited people a lot of times don't want to canter, especially if they like the gait more. Now he just came out of it himself. Let's see if he holds it better. Now it won't look the smoothest in here, because again, the trotty ones, and he's not perfected it yet. The trotty ones on the trotty footing can be a little rougher, but on the road they can be quite nice, or down the trail. To see how much more gait I'm getting out of him, he's trying to canter right here, because the footing got deep, and I just slid the bit, but he's being much better. So again, you do have to know how to get this. If you just get on him and pull his head down and go faster, he's just going to trot or canter, even though he can gait, and that's the whole point. You got to learn how to do it. So see how much better he's getting there. He got a little cantery. Yes, I make up words. You'll see I keep sitting back. I keep my hands up a little bit. There, he got a little trotty, but he got his head down. See, he's trying to get his head down again. So it's not like I'm holding it up. I just half halt and kind of sit back and bring it up. And when he brings it up, then I leave him alone. Now he's cantering again. Slide the bit. Sit back. Still cantering. Again, the gait is fun. It's not like I mind it, but I want him to understand to do this saddle gait. And some people might be like, oh, that's a bunch of work. Huh? Well, I can tell you, I'd rather work on gaiting the horse than behavior problems. He kind of lost his gait there. And you might want to work on behavior problems and have a well-gaited horse. He's going to be well-gaited. He's just needs some help at the moment in the arena. But I never got hurt having a horse pace or trot. And you can't have a horse hurt you if it has other problems. He's doing the turn on the haunches. See, he's memorized. And you probably want to look at the girl. So we'll give him a minute and then off we're going to go. Now, same thing. If he keeps cantering, I'm going to canter this way and then go back to the gait because that helped a lot the other direction. Okay? And it takes a lot of energy out of him, so you might be like, how do you know how far to keep going? I have the feel, but you have to figure that out. So I can feel when he's getting tired. I knew he needed a break, but I knew he could keep going a little bit more. And he did well for a while, and then he started to fall apart. So when they start to fall apart, they're telling you, I'm tired, give me a break. So you go a little bit more, make sure you stop when the gait is pretty good, give him a break, and then we're going to start again. Okay? So again, he DNA tested as a marchador. People will fight over all sorts of stuff. That's all we know is that's what he DNA tested for. He is gaited. He kind of looks like a foxtrotter to me, but who knows? And you can DNA a foxtrotter, and maybe it'll come back as a marchador or something else, or it'll have some walking horse or something in it. So you never know if this stuff is 100% correct. I can just tell you, he's a fun horse. He's a good horse, but he's got to have someone who wants to work with him some, okay? And not ride like this down the trail, not paying any attention. Okay? They are not machines, and even with machines, you got to give machines tune-ups or they fall apart and they break and they don't work anymore. But people don't think that, so animals are the same way. You got to do the right stuff for them to be good. So I'm going to use both legs. I'm going to sit back, tuck my butt underneath me, and then ask him to go forward. Here, my hands come up. Now, he's not going, so I gave him a little tap with the stick. Now, he was doing the saddle gait, but it was a little slower, and I just asked him for more speed. Now, again, he's going to start to canter a little bit. Now, he's doing fine so far. Here goes the canter, so he's going to canter, so I'm going to let him. This way, sometimes he pops his lead a little bit to the right. A lot of horses that trot, but then can do lateral gaits, can pop their lead in the back. So you just got to hold them together and help them. If you make a sharp turn, like if I make a circle, that's when it can happen, and that's normal. You just work on it, and they get stronger, and over time they're able to hold it. So in the turns, I'm just sitting back and trying to keep them slow, because it's usually when they're fast and they get on their front end that they swap that lead. And you got to be careful, because lots of people, even trainers who don't understand them, will think they're bucking and the horse swaps its lead because it lost its balance, and they beat him up. And you're beating him up for just losing his balance, which makes no sense to the horse. And of course, then the horse doesn't want to do anything for you anymore because you punished it. And it didn't even do anything wrong. It's just its body. So here we go. Sit back, forward, head up. That's better. Now he's holding it, and he put his head down a little bit. Again, if he can, I'm happy with that. So as long as there he got a little trotty. So if he puts it down and he holds it, I'm fine with that. But if he puts it down and he gets trotty or he starts cantering, then I'm bringing his head back up. So you might see a little bounce because he's kind of gait loping again. There, we're better. Again, this is all feel, and he's gaiting loping again. You got to be able to feel it. The only way you can feel it is practice. You're going to make mistakes. You might even really mess up your horse's gaits, but you can get it back if you keep doing it, or go to a gaited trainer and have him show you how. So you'll see, again, at times, he's putting his head down, he's holding this gait, so that means he's getting better. But you'll see him putting his head up and down and trying different things. He's like, can I do this? Can I do this? This is easier. Can I do this? Nope. Do this, and I'll leave you alone. So again, when you're doing the saddle gait, it'll either be completely smooth, depends on the horse, or you're going to feel a wiggle. And in some, you're going to feel like you're sitting on the washing machine and their legs are moving all around. You're like, oh my God, what the hell is this? Oh, it's fun when they get better. But you will go through stages where their gait's not so good, just like the pacey ones. When they're pacey, you're like, oh, I hate this. Well, the trotty ones also do stuff. So it just depends. So he's doing pretty good. He's gait open again. That's better. So I know he's getting tired, so now I don't want his head down too low because I know he might fall out of it. We're quite good, so whoop. So we made it, and he did quite good. All right? But it takes a lot out of them. When they don't know how to gait, and then you're gaiting them, you got to gait them some, and then slowly more and more over time. But the footing in here is hard, and everything in here is hard for him. Everything on the trail is easy. He's like, no, it's not. You're riding me too much. Because, again, he's on the trotty side. So there's benefits of trotty and pacey. There's benefits of just gaited. But, again, with each one, you're going to have an upside and a downside. So let me say it again. With each, part of the gaited spectrum, like just the gait or the pace or the trot, there's going to be good things about it that will help you, and there will be bad things about it. And I say it usually in lots of my videos if you watch them all. But no matter what, all the gaited horses, they're great. Some are smoother than others. Some will get smoother than others if you just work on it. But you do have to ride them correctly. It is a different discipline, and you got to realize it's a different discipline, so I have to ride it differently. I can't ride it like a hunter jumper if I'm going to do reining. I can't ride it like a roping horse if I'm going to do Western pleasure. Okay? You ride for that discipline. That's what these horses are made for. And if you ride them correctly and understand and build up feel and timing, and you practice, you make mistakes and you practice and you work on it, they will get better. Okay? But it can take a long time. All right, that's it with copper, and hopefully you learned something. I'm going to get off and loosen the girth, because that's what I do, and they do a good job. And we'll see if we have any video left to do any other horse stuff, right?